Now there's some
creative shit.
There's in that Reddit group started off as a fucking, they were big fans of the show.
Yeah.
Somehow got infiltrated, and there's some evil people.
Well, if you look at the kill,
it didn't get infiltrated. You over the years turned into a piece of shit. You were probably always a piece of shit, but people started to see that you had piece of shit tendencies, and if anything, the success actually made him worse. The quicker he became successful in stand-up so quickly, he achieved success in stand-up quite quickly. That obviously got him money, got him a lot of fame, and it went to his head. And, he hasn't been the same since, basically. Yeah, like, no one infiltrated the Reddit. People on the Reddit realized you're a fucking douchebag. And it turned because they knew you were a douchebag.
Tony subreddit, it's the same thing.
It's evil, but you can't let the
It's not evil. They just highlight all the dumb shit you say and do.
The few evil people dictate all of it. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of it's
like you get
WWE.
more love than hate. I'm sure you get hate.
Oh, for sure. And but to me, and like, look, I'm a sensitive.
Describing people that don't like your comedy as being evil is an insane characterization in it. People that generally don't like your comedy or that think your show is boring, right? Describing them as evil is an insane way to cope with the fact that some people don't like you. They're just evil. I'm doing the Lord's work. I'm doing the good work. I'm doing the what? Evil? That's so hyperbolic. That's so dramatic and unnecessary.
I like it, can hurt my feelings and stuff like that. 18, 36. I'm fucking 18, but in real life, I'm 36.
24 years old.
I'm 70.
I've had my face pulled back in a ponytail.
Yeah.
You
A lot of work.
You've been famous for 6 months.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it famous.
Well, but I'm saying you've hit people's radar in the past 6 months.
Yeah. It was nothing.
So the hate, it doesn't get less. The more successful you get,
for sure.
like
100%.
like Tony gets a ton of hate, right? He's very famous.
A ton.
No one gets more hate than Joe Rogan. Very famous. So it's like it comes with the territory.
Again, that's an interesting quote, by the way. So they number one only get hate because the people that hate them are evil, and they also only get hate because they're very famous. Isn't that interesting? So if you hate them, you're evil. But if you hate them, it also means they're famous. Oh, these guys are such idiots. I can't believe I was a fan at one point. These guys are such fucking absolute redactors.
Oh, for
It
sure.
just comes with the territory.
For sure. I see hate right now because like when I've gone on that show, for the most part, I've done well. I'm like, I feel good about,
crush it, yeah.
I feel good about like what I've done. The time, and inevitably there will be a time where it just doesn't go as well.
Yeah.
I'll probably, like, if people hate on that, I'll probably feel bad. But now when like people like just like somebody just out of pocket will be like, this fucking sucks, it's funny to me.
Yeah,
like it's
of
not
course.
it's not because I'm like it doesn't suck.
But see,
It was
for
good.
me, when I came,
Why are these comedians so incapable of just saying, I get it. If someone doesn't find me funny, it's okay. Comedy's subjective. Not everyone has to find me funny. What is with these copes about, no, it was really good, you just don't get it, you're just dumb, you're just low IQ? Why can't it just be that some people don't like what you do for whatever reason? Could be the cut of your fucking beard, the cut of your hair, the lack of hair that you have.
Powerful bunch.
Big up.
It's so weird how everyone hates Hitler. It just comes with the territory of being famous though, I guess.
Exactly. Exactly. Big up Assad disease. It's just, I don't know. I just don't get this way of thinking. It's just a strange way to kind of cope with the fact that people don't. And do you even need to cope? Do you really need to cope? Can't you just be like, hey, it's a big wide world out there. If some people don't like me, it's okay. Is it really that difficult? Like, I don't understand it. I really don't get this, like, trying to, I don't know. I just don't understand it. It's just a weird way to kind of make sense of the world, really. It's a very juvenile way to make sense of the world, really.
along, I was already older than everybody. So this whole social media thing was so new. And I also came from a culture and a time where self-promotion was a bad word.
Yeah.
Like the idea that I was going to, remember when Rogan was like, dude, a huge part of your job is Twitter. And I was like, and gaming the system, like, and I was like, I just can't do it. I was so against maybe just the way I grew up or whatever. And so for me, I never knew any, like the Reddit thing. I swear to God, I didn't know it existed. My wife was like, it's in the hundreds of thousands or something. And I was like, what is? And she's like, there's a whole fighter in the kids subreddit.
That's not something to, he acts, this whole like ambivalence, this whole like act that he does isn't cute about not being aware of the internet. Brian, you can't afford to do that. You're not Dave Attell. You can't afford to not be aware of how to use social media, what's being said about you online, or not be aware of it. You really can't. But it makes sense though, because he's not really an attention guy, We already saw him, 3 specials in a row. He's wearing literally the same color t-shirt. He's got the same color top on, 3 specials in a row, right? The same style of jeans, the same basic trainers that he's wearing in 3 fucking specials across 7 years, 6 years or some shit. So he's not an attention to detail guy. But I don't think a guy like Brian, who's always kind of struggled to really pop, he's always struggled to really kind of make a name for himself. You can't afford to be this blasé, to be this unaware, to be this ditzy, to be this fucking whatever when it comes to the internet and social media. You should be somewhat aware of what's going on. I get why they don't, because they don't want to see the negative. Like clearly Brian gets rattled by negative stuff. He's already got rattled by all the negative comments about his comedy special. It really sent him in a bit of a spiral. He kind of got really rattled when he saw that he didn't get that many views. He thought he was going to get more views, blah, 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 blah. But to like this act of like, I don't even know how to use my phone. You better learn. You better fucking learn.
Which I had actually no idea about until it was coming after him to that extent.
But the more you look into it, like they have some valid points.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like
when they're like, dude,
that was the point I was going to make.
Yeah, they're like, this show used to be fun. Now you guys gotten so political, and that's on me and Brian. Like during COVID, like it was a tough time, and like we were pissed off living in California, man. Yeah. So the show did get
your
very
audience
political.
doesn't want to see that. They don't want to hear you brag. They don't want to hear you fucking talk about your political opinion. They're here for comedy to be and they want you to be a jackass.
They have
so they know all the reasons why people don't like the show, and they still do the things that people don't like. Isn't that worse? Like, I know no one likes to hear about my kids playing baseball, but I'm still going to talk about it. I know no one likes to hear about my political opinions, but I'm still going to talk about it. Like, why your fans don't like the show. Oh my God. This is actually worse. This is actually a worse thing to admit.
Valid point.
Yeah. Well, you guys should have like a section of the podcast where you just like read the meanest Reddit.
That's why Nick comes in. That's what he does.
I've never
okay,
been
that's great.
That.
You should totally do that. You should just like acknowledge it and stuff like that.
Correct.
And just be like, fuck you.
But I do that sometimes when I'll post a video and we'll do these, like we'll read the video, the comments on, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
They're just
some of them are just so over the top mean that it's funny.
Yes.
It's just so preposterous.
I know.
You know what's funny? Okay, so 2 years ago, somehow like I think I like was.
It's really patronizing too, the way they're acting, as if like, oh my God, can you believe it? These regular people that don't go on stage, that don't do stand up, that aren't part of the 250, are like funny. It's so condescending and like, fuck off, cunts.
I don't know, like I pulled up Gringo Papi again or something. Mm-hmm. I wrote a comment 2 years ago defending you.
Oh, brother.
Randomly. I was like
lit up.
No, nobody, like it was just because it didn't, I was like watching it again. I'm like, this isn't like that. Is it the best stand-up special? No, but like it made no sense.
Oh, that's not good. Is it the best stand-up special? Would I watch it in my free time? Would I watch it again today? No. But, oh my God.
The level of hate that it was getting.
But some of it, again,
it was like they were jokes, so.
And I've only been doing it like, not that long. But the thing.
He was 7 years. He was 7 years into his stand-up comedy career. He was 7 years into his stand-up comedy career. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 7 or 8. I haven't been doing it that long. Fuck off.
But the issue is, to give some of them credit, is like when I went on Schultz's show and he's like, they're talking about the special. He's like, it's not a Bill Burr special. And then I went, whoa, hold on. But nobody in here is. So if you're holding me to that standard, because I hang out with Bill, I hang out with Brian, or I hang out with Joey Diaz or Rogan, or Theo and Chris, my best friends are great comics. But just because I hang out with them, I still have a long ways to go. But because we're doing shows together and podcasts together, people are like, no, you got to be at their standard. Now, to the credit too,
but isn't that your fault though? Isn't that your fault? Part of the reason why, and I agree with him, he did get a lot of hate because of his, because of his fast-tracked route into stand-up. But he also didn't ever pull back and say, you know what, let me go and actually do open mics. Let me go and actually work on sets and work on lineups with like lower quote-unquote level guys, or guys on my same experience level. He wanted to hang out with the Bill Burrs and the Joe Rogans of them group. Don't get me wrong, it's another topic. We don't need to talk about Rogan, because I think Rogan kind of empowered him as well. Rogan's partly to blame for Brendan's stand-up anyway, in general too, because he clearly, even in those early years, I don't know if he didn't give many tips, if he turned a blind eye to how bad Brendan was, sorry. Maybe Rogan wasn't there when Brendan was performing, but I don't understand how Rogan had Brendan on those Comedy Store lineups a year or 2 years into stand-up, and never once like pulled him aside and said, hey, you're kind of shit, you should probably go and start learning to do it properly. You have no business being on the lineup with me, with Rogan, Joey Diaz and Bill Burr at them times. Whatever, story for another day. But he has himself to blame for not once trying to go through it, trying to do comedy the traditional, conventional way. And if you remember properly, in the beginning, this motherfucker used to brag. He used to brag that he didn't need to do open mics. His open mics were the TFATK live shows. He used to brag about the fact that he learned on that kind of big stage in the first place, right? That he's unconventional, that he's different, that he's like the one that's going to change things about how people do stand up, you know? Everyone does stand up in one way, where you kind of learn doing open mics and kind of progressing, and then on the 10-year mark you become good, blah blah blah. He was adamant that he was like an outlier, you know? He was the exception to the rule. So all that he's saying here is true, but he has to take some responsibility for the way people compared him to his comedic peers and friends, because he was always around them, doing shows with them. So people expected him stand up to be a lot better than what it was, because, you know, he was hanging around those big dogs.